Alright, in order to explain factorizing using the difference of two squares, I'm going to take this example here and I'm going to factorize it using my guide number method that's used for quadratics, and we'll have a look at our answer at the end and try and find a shortcut to get from my original question to the answer. So x squared minus 9, right now that's not a proper quadratic as we know them. A proper quadratic as we know them usually has an x squared part, an x part, and a number at the end. So in order to rectify that, I'm going to rewrite my first line there as x squared plus 0x minus 9. If you think about it, 0 times x will give me just 0, which makes my second line the exact same as my first line here. So they look a bit different, but they have the exact same value. If I am to factorize my second line here using my guide number method, I need to find out what's in front of my x squared. That's going to be 1. 1 is always in front of your x squared there as a variable, but oftentimes people don't write it. So to get my guide number, it's going to be 1 times minus 9, which is minus 9. My factors of minus 9 are minus 9 and 1, and 9 and minus 1, and also 3 and minus 3. So the pair of those that add together to give me my 0x in the middle here is my 3 and my minus 3. So instead of my 0x here, I'm going to say plus 3x minus 3x. I still have my minus 9 at the end. I still have my plus, or my x squared at the start. I'm just going to write that as x squared now. I only needed a 1 there to get my guide number. So this is now a grouping question, so I'm going to factorize that by grouping. On this side here, I'm going to have x multiplied by x plus 3. On this side here, I'm going to have minus 3 times x plus 3. If you look at the line that we just have, my x plus 3s are in common, or they're the highest common factor between those two. So I'm going to take out my x plus 3, and my leftovers is going to be my x minus 3. So that right there is my answer to this question here. And I just want to point out one thing. In my rough work over here, minus 9 was my guide number. So minus 9 is a squared number. So 3 multiplied by minus 3 will give me my minus 9. If my question was x squared minus 16, well, my guide number would have been minus 16, and I would have ended up with 4 and minus 4. And if you think about it, the 3 and the minus 3 in my original question, they ended up down at the bottom here in my brackets, my plus 3 and my minus 3. If my question was x squared minus 16, I'd do the exact same thing, except I'd end up with x plus 4 and x minus 4. So if we were to cut out all the sort of rough work and try and get straight to our answer, x squared minus 9 is the one we've done. It was x minus 3, x plus 3. X squared minus 16 would be x minus 4 and x plus 4. If we had x squared minus 49, well, 49 can be written as 7 squared, so that'd be x minus 7 and x plus 7. And that gives us a rule that we have for when we can identify that we need to factorize using the difference of two squares. That means if you have a squared number, take away another squared number. So if you think about it, the difference indicates the negative sign of two squares, well, your a squared and your b squared. That's going to be a minus b multiplied by a plus b. So that right there is your rule, and I'll put that in the description. Now, in terms of an exam style question, the examiners they're very fond of saying something like, well, can you factorize 4x squared minus 49? And what some people do is they say, oh, that's easy, that's 4x minus 7 and 4x plus 7. Just be careful. Everything here has to be written in terms of something squared. So your 4 here, that's going to be 2 squared. Your x squared is x squared. Your 49 is going to be minus 7 squared. So just to tidy that up, on the left hand side, that's the same thing as 2x squared. That's using your laws of indices. That's going to be minus 7 squared. So in order to apply my rule here, that would be the same thing if I factorize it as 2x minus 7 and 2x plus 7. In an exam type situation, doing out all your workings out here will get you out of trouble, and it'll make sure that you don't do anything stupid like saying 4x minus 4x minus 7, sorry, 4x minus 7 times 4x plus 7 is your answer, in which case you would lose marks. Make sure that you write everything as a squared number. Okay, that's the difference of two squares.